Hey guys, so I just want to quickly go over the next phase of our summer program. Typically we do this in the gym, but obviously with the certain situation we're in right now, can't do that. So yeah, just want to quickly run through the GPP phase, which is going to last anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, depending on which program you're in. But really important for us, not being able to be with our athletes, that you guys really understand the goal of the phase and the purpose behind what you're doing. So I just kind of broke it down into goals of the phase, some focus areas, and then things to avoid during the phase. So first goal of phase is prepare your body for more intense and load later on in the summer. So things like strengthening, the stabilizers, working on joint and tendon health, basically making sure that you're ready to go in June and July when we really start to ramp up the intensity. If we don't do that, the risk of injury gets a lot higher when we do increase intensity and load. Second thing is restore posture. As hockey players, we're in a very hunched over position all season, and what tends to happen is chest muscles get very tight, hips get very tight, so we really want to get the athletes in a really good position, head position back, shoulders back, and working on long head muscles. Third one is correct any imbalances throughout the body. Again, when you're playing hockey, if you're left-handed shot or right-handed shot, you're just naturally going to develop a lot of imbalances from your left and right side. Then basically that just leads to potential risk of injury. And I put in brackets here, full range of motion. Everything we do, we want to be controlled with our tempo, and then getting full range of motion, making sure that each joint is optimized. So those are the big three phases of the program, or goals of the program, excuse me. When you're doing your workouts, keep reminding yourself of that. When the tempo says 4-2-1-1, that doesn't mean we're going up and down. It means very slow down for 4 seconds, 2 hold, 1 up, 1 at the top. That's there for a reason. Okay, so some focus areas to think about. You'll see in your programs, whether you're in the black program, the red, college junior, super important for us that we work on feet and ankles. Again, as hockey players, we're stuck inside a hockey boot for 7 months of the year, and our ankles tend to get pretty stiff and tight. And what happens there is, with poor mobility in your ankles, leads to an inability to get full range of motion on a lot of lower body exercises, tends to get you to lean over a little bit more. So really working on strengthening and mobilizing feet and ankles. Again, lower back, we're in a hunched over position most of the year, so super important that our back is very strong. Our adductors and abductors, so inside and outside your hip, your groin muscles. Obviously, when skating all year, these are super important to be healthy. Rotator cuff, upper back. See this a ton in hockey. The shoulder injuries, just with the high impacts and being in the position against the board like that. Very important that our shoulders are healthy. Upper back that supports the shoulders as well. Grip, this is huge obviously for shooting, stick handling, also a great indicator of overall strength in the body. Like I mentioned earlier, we really want to lengthen our chest muscles and hip muscles, so you'll be getting a ton of mobility stuff throughout the program that we send you guys around those two things. Super important that we work on our aerobic system. So basically the aerobic system is, if you think about the car, it's the engine of the car. So if you have a very good aerobic system, you're going to be able to produce high intensity bouts over and over again with the ability to recover properly. Without a very good aerobic system, you might be able to do 1 or 2 high intensity sprints, and then it might take you 10 minutes to recover from it. So very important that we get the aerobic system dialed in. So things like tempo runs, 2 or 3 minutes on, longer, slower jogs, following the rest in our programs. You'll see a lot in the next phase here that your rest intervals will be very short, with a certain heart rate zone that we're trying to keep you in. So make sure you follow your rest there. A couple others, landing and sprinting mechanics. Again, we're a huge believer of, before we do anything high intensity, high impact jumping, you need to be able to land properly, as well as sprinting. So again, you'll see this quite a bit in your first phase, where you're thinking you're not working very hard, but again, it's just about building the foundations so that when we do go more intense, you're not going to get injured and you'll be able to perform a lot better. The last one is nutrition and sleep habits. This is a really good time to take 10 minutes, sit down by yourself, really map out your schedule for the week, get your nutrition planned out. What are you going to have pre, post workout? Are you going to bed at 2 in the morning after playing Xbox or PlayStation all night, and then your next day suffers? We're gonna be sending out quite a bit of information on nutrition in the next week here. I'd strongly advise you take that into consideration. If you can dial this stuff in, the rest of your summer becomes way easier and you'll get way more out of the program. If you're eating Tim Hortons all week, you're probably not going to see the best results. Last thing here, kind of the don'ts of the phase. So I get this question all the time from parents and other people, but should my kid be doing plyometrics? Well, then there's a couple of ways I'd answer that depending on how old the kid is, but for us, doing high impact plyometrics for younger kids, you need to be able to deserve those. And so for us, that's why I mentioned the landing mechanics. This is not the time to be doing high impact plyometrics. Number one, your body probably isn't ready to do them properly. You're not going to get anything out of them because you're not strong enough to produce enough force. That's a whole other topic. But just trust me and trust us in this one. We will get to this eventually. But doing high box jumps or hurdle hops at a high height will do nothing for you during this phase. Lifting heavy and sacrificing form to get the heavy weight. We see this all the time with younger kids they get so excited to get back in the gym and start lifting weights. Again, you need to be able to earn the right to lift heavy. So if you go into partial range of motion and you start sacrificing form, again, you're just going to create more imbalances in your body. Risk of injury goes up. So again, trust us, follow the reps, follow the tempo, lift as much as you can with control and full range of motion. The third one, I've touched on this a few times before, but high intensity anaerobic exercises or energy system development, such as sprinting 100 yards or quote unquote HIIT workouts, will do nothing for you in this phase. When we're trying to work on the aerobic system, if you start doing anaerobic activity, you're essentially pulling your body in two different directions, and you're really not going to get much out of it. So the aerobic work, although it might seem boring and mundane at times, there's a purpose behind it, and this stuff will come later in the summer, closer to your actual season. So again, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully that gives you a little insight. Kind of to wrap it up, make sure your nutrition and sleep is on point. Get your habits dialed in. Full range of motion on all your exercises. Listen to your coaches. Follow the reps. Follow the tempo. The small details really matter in this phase. This is where we build the foundation. Once the foundation is solid, then we deserve and we're ready to go on to more advanced and high intensity efforts. Hope that helps. See you guys around.